This is a breakdown of my fifth piano piece, my fifth original piano piece for my album called Remedy. We have not completed the album yet. This is number 5 out of 8. And we technically already finished 6, which is Ocean of Love. This one is called Adventure Overseas, and it's about basically the feeling I got when I came to Japan last year for like Japanese language school and everything like that. So I was trying to capture that sort of like adventure feeling and stuff like that. And in this video, I'm just gonna go through like my thoughts on how I created this piece. And well, firstly, I have an unlisted playlist of me doing music sessions of me creating, so you can also watch that if you wanted. But I'm just gonna verbally break it down as a summary right now. I actually didn't record much towards the end, but most of this was created, or most of the ideas were created in like the first few videos, which was in California. And I feel like I'm really glad to be done with this. I mean, I really like this piece overall, and I feel like I could make it even better, but I want to move forward and I want to like sort of create something here and not like finish off an idea I had in California here, if that makes sense. But let's go ahead and play a little bit. Okay, up until that point, that's like somewhat the intro. I came up with this idea a lot later than the part that's about to come up, but for what I did for this one, I thought it would be fun. This keyboard doesn't have quite enough keys for me to play the bottom part, but I really like the idea. Like one day I was just like messing around trying to figure out like what's a good intro to this. I came up with a couple of different ideas, but the one that stuck was this one. Like that sort of pattern was very like, I don't know, it felt fun to repeat. And so I just repeated it and had this like feeling of like, oh, I'm about to get on a plane, I'm about to go on an adventure, stuff like that. That feeling came up, and I don't know, I just kept developing that idea, and eventually came up with that melody of it's a very simple melody, right? So I'll play it without the pattern. So that's like the melody, and with the pattern it sounds like pretty fun. I can't really play fast on this keyboard. Like the keys are so flimsy that I end up playing like really poorly, like unevenly basically. And it's hard to play this is the downside of doing it here versus back in California. It's so much easier to do on like a more legit piano feel. This thing was, I think, $160, so fair. But let's go ahead and keep going. But yeah, I really love the first part. Like it's one of my favorite parts. I love just re-listening to it, honestly. Like it just feels so fun to me and exciting, even though it's just like repeating. And I also did like a tempo increase right there because I felt like it was going a little too slowly when I first created it. And then I needed a way to transition into the actual main part that I came up with first, which is about to come up. So I just came up with this really easy pattern. So I came up with that melody first. That was the initial sort of like just having fun with that rhythm and also melody. And I was like, what's a good intro for it? And I came up with what you just heard as the intro. And this one is like very simple. At first I wasn't sure about like combining them, like because they do feel different, but at the same time they have some similarities with like the notes that they use. It's just like a different, like out of order. So you can sort of hear the similarity, but obviously it's quite different in feel. But having listened to it so many times, it feels natural now to go with that transition. And then moving on from here, this was like an improvisation I did back in California that I just cleaned up while I was here. And like I like it a lot. Like when I did the improvisation, it sucked ass because the whole rhythm and stuff like that I can't really play very well. But it was a good concept, so I just cleaned it up using MIDI. So I can't really play it super well, but like it sounds good. So a part of me is trying not to mind as much, like, okay, I can't like fully play it, but it's still good, so I'd rather like have it in the piece, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to play every single part like one to one. Personally, I really love this part right here. I know it is kind of a lot is happening at once, but I don't mind that a lot of stuff is happening all at once. I probably could clean up the MIDI a bit more to make it so that it doesn't sound as messy, but it was kind of like that, you know, while I was traveling in Japan. It was like an adventure where we're just going all over the place and stuff. So I wanted to capture that feeling, and it does. It reminds me of like moments I spent with certain friends. I'll play it again. I also love that like that moment because I bring back like the main melody, right? To the mix. And that sort of like transition spot right there is combining both melodies, and I really like it. I know I was stuck at this spot for a very long time, like just like trying to figure out what to do next. But also like I created this beginning part, everything before here, like that beginning part before I created Ocean of Love. Ocean of Love's for my girlfriend for her birthday, so I wanted to create it before her birthday. I failed to do that. I created it like I think a day or two afterwards, like finished it and gave it to her after that. But after spending a lot of time on a different piece and then coming back to this, it's like I felt like I lost a lot of momentum. I felt like it was harder to like figure out what I wanted to do next. So I spent a lot of time just like re-listening until like I was like, oh wait, I have this part that I improvised on, and I just cleaned it up and it felt right. And then after that, I got stuck again. Like right before there, I was like, what do I do after this, you know? But then after mulling it over for a while, I just figured, let's just go back to, the original melody I came up with, but just lower, and also combine the newer intro melody as well, and fuse them together, and this is what came out of it. I still need to clean up the MIDI here, and I'll probably add pedal here, but this is the last section, and I basically just do a soft, slow version of the first intro part to conclude it. And to me, it makes sense because I fused the parts here, so it's like transitioning back to the original, not original, but the first melody, I guess. And that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna end it like that. I created the last part, the last section today. It took me about 2 hours just to do it all because I feel like so tired. I did a really long hike 2 days ago, and I'm like, I feel more tired today than I felt yesterday, and it was just so hard to focus. But managed to get this done, and again, I need to clean up the last part. There are still parts that are unsatisfying in terms of like how it sounds. Adding sustain pedal will help, and I don't know. There are parts that I'll also say, like, I don't always follow like time signature rules. Like, I definitely sometimes skip a beat or two during places. Not very often, maybe like once in this piece I skipped a beat, and then another time I added like 2 extra ones. But music does that all the time. It's not like super crazy noticeable. Also, the last part is a little slow. I might speed it up just a little bit, or give it like a cello rondo. But that is Adventure Overseas. I feel like there's also other parts that I wanted to add, or felt like I would have liked to have added, but I just didn't add it because it doesn't fit anywhere. So that's like one idea I had, like try to combine certain elements. I was really trying to add this part, but I just couldn't. Like, I thought it would be a good ending, but like, I tried to add it, but it didn't work out. And I feel like this is, I don't know, it just works as an ending as well. Like, just ending it with the original or first melody. That tends to be something I do a lot. I just create like 2 different melodies and somewhat combine them. But yeah, I really like this piece's melody. It's just fun. yeah, but either way, we are done with this piece. Well, after we fix the last parts, sustain and MIDI information, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about it because each piece has its own story. Each piece has its own like inspiration. And despite being dead tired right now, I still really, really love this piece and like what it's based around, which is my adventure in Japan last year. I do feel like, I could make it like more, like there's so much more I would like to have tried to do with it, but at the same time, my headspace and what I want to do. Here, I feel like I just need to get this done so that I can focus on other things. Because I don't know, I just don't like working on a project for too long. And this one, unfortunately, got the treatment of like being shelved for a little bit and then, you know, being taken off the shelf and being worked on again. And that process, I really don't like it. I really don't like doing that to a music piece. I think that's the first time I've ever done that with my piano originals. I've created around like 14 or 15 at this point, and this is the first time I did that, and it does not feel good. It's like you just lose so much of like that initial inspiration. And that's like one of the reasons why I made that like one video a while back saying like, oh yeah, I definitely feel disappointed in myself and failing to finish certain things before coming to Japan. But I also committed to like finishing it in Japan. And yeah, definitely difficult to do it here because of the lack of similar environment, and lack of like a legit digital or electric piano that I can play properly on. Because when I play with this thing, the velocity of the MIDI information when I connect it, right, it's like all over the place. It's like, it's really hard to control like how hard you hit these flimsy keys and how light you hit these flimsy keys as well. So it's like I have to adjust the information like on the computer, which I don't like doing. So this piece definitely suffered from a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, I still really, really love it. Again, I sort of treat these things as like, just keep creating, and eventually like, if I really truly love this, once I'm like 3-4 years down the line and a much better musician, then I can come back to it and create an even better version of it. But for now, I just need to keep moving. And the next one for my album, Tides of Time, that one's I'm gonna take my time with it. I'll try to definitely record the process and put it in my unlisted playlist, instead of, what I did here, where at the end I just did not record anything because I just lost momentum, I guess. But for Tides of Time, I'll try to record the whole process again, and I don't really have a full concept of it yet. I tried to come up with a little bit back then in California, but nothing ever stuck. So part of me likes that because I can just create it brand new here, and I want to take my time with it. It's called Tides of Time, and I'll just not worry about rushing it. But after I finish that one, the final one, that piece I want to do in California. So that means I have a good amount of time to finish Tides of Time, basically. So everything I just want to finish before May 20 something. I just want to finish it before my birthday, basically. And once I release the album, I'll feel very, very good that I finally released my first like music album, piano original album, because it's been a goal of mine for a while, and it's about time I accomplished it. So let's clean this up off camera and let's call it a video. Let me know what you guys think of my original piece. You can also listen to it on Spotify. I basically have all my original piano pieces there on Spotify. Actually, not the first few, but most of the newer ones. I'll probably eventually post some of the older originals I created on Spotify. But yeah, you should be able to listen to this on Spotify once this video is released. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.